There are shows that make you laugh, and there are shows that make you cry, but only the greatest shows can make you do both, and few do it better than The Simpsons.
Don't worry, Homer. You'll always be a part of me.
Having the power to go either way creates the tension which makes The Simpsons so powerful. Even the toughest among you have probably felt your lip quiver at some point during the show's most notorious emotional gut punches. So let's take a look and we'll all weep together.
I'm gonna miss you.
I'm Kyle with Wicked Binge, and these are the top 10 saddest Simpsons moments that made us cry.
I wanna see more butts!
Number 10, Mrs. Krabappel's chalkboard obituary, 4 regrettings and a funeral. To say that Bart and his teacher have a love-hate relationship would be an understatement. Mrs. Krabappel constantly takes delight in the academic failings of her most troublesome student, which seems cruel for a teacher. Likewise, Bart gives as good as he gets. When he responds to Miss Krabappel's personal ad, pretending to be an eligible and interested bachelor, it's hard not to feel bad for Springfield's thirstiest divorcee. However, Bart's carefree, rebellious nature eventually breaks down, and he shows some compassion for the victim of his catfish.
Whoever this guy is, you don't need him.
Likewise, Mrs. Krabappel often drops the hard line with Bart, notably giving him a break to help him pass the 4th grade. Sadly, Marcia Wallace, the voice of Edna Krabappel, passed away in 2013. The show's moving tribute was to substitute Bart's chalkboard gag and show the young rebel hang his head in sorrow. Although it's a relatively fleeting moment, Bart's reaction is the perfect way to highlight what's lost from her absence in the pair's yin and yang relationship. We miss you too, Mrs. K. Number 9. Santa's little helper runs away, dog of death. Pets occupy a strange place in our lives. We describe them as members of the family, but treat them like second-class citizens. The Simpsons tunes into our paradoxical relationship with animals when Homer and Marge plan to let Santa's little helper die, instead of paying $750 for an operation.
Oh, honey, $750 is a lot of money.
It's harsh, but these kind of tough financial choices are a reality for many pet-owning families. While they do manage to scrape the cash together and pay for the operation, it's not long before the whole family starts resenting the dog for all the sacrifices they've had to make. The really sad moment comes when we see their brutal treatment of the helpless, unaware canine, and he almost seems to understand. Poor Santa's little helper. Number 8. Maggie's first word, Lisa's first word. Some of The Simpsons' biggest tear-jerking moments toe the line between sadness and joy. Maggie's first word marks the first example of this phenomenon on our list, but certainly not the last. What is it about flashback episodes? In most shows, they're banal filler, but The Simpsons finds a way to make them excel. When Bart's overachieving little sister first joins the family, he suffers a bout of jealousy. As usual, the show does a superb job of taking us through the child's perspective and helping us to feel every irrational source of fear that cultivates Bart's resentment towards Lisa. Sibling jealousy is such a common and relatable issue as well, something all parents will know. The touching payoff comes when Lisa's first word turns out to be Bart.
Bart!
Validating and including him in his sister's development. More on Bart and Lisa's relationship later though. The episode's real kicker comes at the end when Maggie utters her first word.
Daddy.
Aw, way to go, Homer. Number 7. Homer goes bald, Simpson and Delilah. When a new follicle stimulation treatment gives Homer a full head of hair overnight, his life takes a sharp upward turn, resulting in a promotion and revived virility. Although real studies have shown that bald men are perceived as less handsome and less successful, the show takes it to an extreme. The absurdity and shallow nature of this sudden change of fortune are highlighted by Homer's drastic hairstyle changes from scene to scene.
A man's suit should make him feel like a prince.
It all goes predictably pear-shaped, or egg-shaped, when Bart spills the remainder of the treatment. Homer loses his hair, and all his achievements are immediately reversed. Despite everything, the saddest moment comes when Homer experiences a devastating loss of confidence, and even doubts that his marriage will survive his exposed scalp. Marge reassures him, and the two serenade each other in a warm embrace, but the impact of Homer's vulnerability endures.
You are so beautiful to me.
Right now, most of you probably don't see what the big deal is, while some guys out there are nodding and wondering why this isn't number 1. Number 6. Bleeding Gum's final performance, Round Springfield. You could be forgiven for not shedding a tear at any of the moments we've listed so far, but now we're getting into the big leagues. Lisa, in many ways, is the emotional voice of the show. Her maturity, promising future, and passion for art are constantly crying out for nourishment despite the busy or inadequate adults who surround her. Oscar Murphy, Bleeding Gums Hibbert, is one of Lisa's true sources of inspiration. When they reconnect in a seemingly unrelated episode about Bart's lawsuit against Krusty-O's cereal, it initially just looks like an excuse for the pair to jazz out, jazz off, jazz up together. What follows, however, is a devastating scene where we witness the most talented Simpson lose one of her few heroes. It's gutting to feel Lisa's loss, not only as the death of a friend, but the absence of a nourishing influence on her developing mind. The emotional barrage of this episode doesn't end there either. Bart using his lawsuit money to purchase Bleeding Gum's record for Lisa is a brilliant way to tie the episode together and set up the final scene.
You've made an old jazz man happy, Lisa.
Jazz on, Lisa. Number 5. Pocahontas, A Star is Burns. At a glance, Barney Gumble is an alcoholic, unintelligent slob essentially there to deliver one-liners. He's just about the only character in the show who makes Homer look good. But look a little deeper and you'll discover that he's a good-natured person, with some hidden potential. The reality is that Barney was an excellent student with dreams of going to Harvard, but Homer introduced him to beer the night before they took their SATs, and it all went downhill from there.
Alright, just one. It'll get you off my back.
Despite being the town drunk, Barney's talents still managed to shine through occasionally. Memorably, his entry into the Springfield Film Festival showed us a previously hidden level of self-awareness and artistic talent.
It's brilliant.
It redefined Barney as a tragic romantic figure, earning him the grand prize and melting our hearts in the process.
For your grand prize, a lifetime supply of tough beer.
Number 4. Homer's Death. One fish, two fish, blowfish, bluefish. This episode revolves around Homer's poisoning from an incorrectly prepared fugu blowfish at a Japanese sushi restaurant. In case you didn't already know, that's a real thing. That fish can and probably will kill you. People continue to eat even its deadly liver, despite knowing the risks. When Homer eats some dud blowfish, he's given 24 hours to live. After processing his grief, he decides to prepare and complete a bucket list for his final day on Earth. Not everything goes exactly according to plan, but it's a beautiful technique by the show to highlight what it would really mean to live life to its fullest for a day. Just to be clear, if you are actually poisoned by eating fugu blowfish, you're not getting intimate with anyone. It's a day's worth of pain and paralysis followed by a death which you could have easily avoided. At night, when Homer finally resigns himself to his fate, he settles down in a chair and listens to tapes of the Bible before collapsing into a slump. It's one of The Simpsons' greatest, darkest, and most committed fake-outs, and truly one of the show's very saddest moments. Number 3. Mr. Bergstrom's Note, Lisa's Substitute. Oh, Lisa. Dustin Hoffman's predictable brilliance as Springfield Elementary's second-grade substitute teacher immediately captures our imaginations and registers as everything we'd hope a teacher should be. Lisa is equally impressed, finally recognized and rewarded for her talents while motivated and inspired to learn more. It's a dream come true until it inevitably ends. Once again, Lisa is faced with the pain of loss because she's the only one who really cares. It's incredibly sad when Mr. Bergstrom leaves, and the beauty of his note to Lisa only compounds our sadness for his loss.
Whenever you feel like you're alone and there's nobody you can rely on, this is all you need to know.
Thank you, Mr. Bergstrom.
It's truly The Simpsons at its emotional best. Number 2. Homer's mom leaves forever? Mother Simpson. Let's talk about Mona Simpson. When Homer fakes his own death to get out of a work-organized cleanup, his estranged mother rolls into town to pay her respects. Although he'd been led to believe his mother was dead, the long-lost relatives quickly reconnect and attempt to make up for lost time.
Mom?
We also learn about Homer's insecurities, discovering a potential connection between his mother's absence and some of his own failings in life. Although Mona's crimes were committed with the best of intentions, it's hard not to find Homer vindicated in some part of his resentment towards his mother.
I'll miss you, Homer.
There's an element of narcissism in her ideology which is somehow less than admirable. In one of the show's rare cold endings, we watch Homer look up at the stars as his mom skips town to escape the law once again.
At least this time I'm awake for your goodbye.
Oh, Homer. Remember, whatever happens, you have a mother, and she's truly proud of you.
It's a reminder that no matter how old we get or what our parents do, we're all susceptible to pain in our complex relationships with family. Number 1. Do it for her, and Maggie makes 3. The fact that this video was structured as a list shouldn't imply that there was ever even any contest. The classic Simpsons moment hit us all right in the feels and achieved meme status for that very reason. Homer was always conceived as a satire of the American man. Rather than an entrepreneur who carves out a living with innovation and hard work, he's an overweight slob who watches TV all day and can't do his job properly, but still enjoys a comfortable life with his wife, family, 2 cars, and large house. In fact, the only really endearing trait Homer has to start off with is his stupidity. That's long changed by the 6th season, but this moment still beats out all the rest when it comes to highlighting our hero's positive values.
Marge is pregnant? No!
The episode flashes back to when Marge finds out she's pregnant for the 3rd time. Homer has just packed in his job at the plant to live out his dream of working at a bowling alley, calculating that they'll have just enough money to get by. Of course, children are expensive, and when the news breaks, Homer is forced to grovel on his knees for Mr. Burns to take him back.
Don't forget, you're here forever.
Touchingly, Maggie's arrival quickly helps Homer to come to terms with his sacrifice.
Oh, Marge, we have a wonderful baby girl.
The most powerful moment comes when we finally get to see his office from another angle. From that point onwards, no matter what he does, there's no doubt that Homer's heart is in the right place. But that's our list. What do you think? What's the saddest moment from The Simpsons that destroyed you emotionally? Let us know in the comment section below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notifications whenever we upload. But most importantly, stay wicked.